Alright, hey guys, this is Whitman Price here, getting ready to have an amazing Guerrilla War race with RottDawg. Definitely looking forward to this one. What we're going to do here is actually prove a point. Which version of the game is better? Is it the US version or the Japanese version? So obviously once I win, we'll all know the US version's better, but you know, we'll see. Rott might have a chance too. So I think we're going to get started here in just a moment. What we're going to do is play on easy mode. There's actually a few different modes. You can do a level select screen. So we went into this one and we're going with easy mode, which is actually a little bit slower, but it's a little bit funner also. And Retrothon's all about having fun, so we're going to have a great race. I guess we'll get the countdown in the Discord in a second here, and then we'll get started. Yeah, so the US version, as you might have seen, is called Guerrilla War, obviously. The Japanese version is called Guevara, which is named after Che Guevara. And you might notice throughout this game, and as you see the game map after each level, it's actually based on the Cuban Revolution. So that's pretty cool. Oops. All right, so here we go, level 1. You'll notice right off the bat that I died. That's not ideal, but we can make it work. So the game has awesome music, and it's basically a fast-paced, top-down run-and-gun type game. Similar to another game like Jackal, which we'll probably be seeing shortly here as well. That game, you ride a Jeep the whole time. This one, you do have a tank, which is pretty sweet, but you'll be on foot for the most part. Unfortunately, the tank is not available in every level. It's a lot faster riding the tank than being on foot, but, you know, most of the time we'll have to go on foot and face millions and millions of enemies, massacre the hundreds and hundreds of hostages, and hopefully save at least 2 or 3 of the pigs that we run into later on. So first level, pretty straightforward. What you end up doing in this game with the bosses is you really want to get as close to their sprites as possible, because you kind of have a shot limit. You can only have so many shots on screen at once. So, you know, if you can get like as close to their sprite without actually touching their hurt box, then you can kill them a lot quicker. So I had a pretty sloppy stage 1, which is not too big of a deal. I think me and Rott are pretty close looking at the stream right now. And this is a pretty long game. There's a lot of really tough levels later on, so a lot of things can go good or bad as we continue. Level 2, again, you'll see here, this game has awesome music, so this is another really cool level. You get to use the tank, which I love, and you might actually see some pigs at some point if you keep a close eye. In this level, you can actually run out of gas with the tank. It's kind of a strange mechanic, but what happens if you actually get hit by a grenade or a tank or another big enemy, then the tank starts beeping and you'll lose it. You can just run right over regular enemies and it doesn't hurt you at all, but sometimes if you keep the tank too long and don't do anything, the tank will just start beeping for no reason and it kind of runs out of gas. That's the mechanic. So you have to collect a certain amount of hostages throughout this level to be able to keep it throughout the entire level, which is very important because, again, the tank is very, very fast. But it's also really crucial for the boss fight coming up here, because you'll see I just destroy this boss. And this one, I don't even worry about getting hit. I'll go right into the sprite. I'll start taking damage, but I can kill him before I die. And what happens is, even if you die or lose the tank in that boss fight, you don't actually lose a life, because as the bosses and mini-bosses are exploding and dying, you're actually invincible. Alright, this level is a bit of a tricky level here. It's kind of a water level, which, as most people know, any water levels in games are terrible, and this one's no exception. Unfortunately, the game makes you move extremely slow when you're in the water. It kind of lags you down a bit, and this game already is pretty heavy on the lag, so this level can be pretty rough. I actually did not take a death at the beginning, which is pretty fortunate, because normally I'll die at the beginning. It's kind of random what patterns you get with the enemies, but this level is definitely one that's notorious for killing you early on. But yeah, most of the speedrun for this game, it's about, you know, finding the proper optimal path through the levels. You want to kill less enemies. Oh damn. You want to kill less enemies if you can, because that'll also can lag the game. And when you kill enemies or when you move a certain way, it can cause other enemies to either despawn or spawn differently. So you kind of want to have a set path through most of the levels, and that can help set up the spawns throughout the levels and help you get through them as quickly as possible. Alright, so now we have a very easy boss here. Essentially, it's like a clown tank. They're all coming out of the tank, never ending set of clowns here. Except they're trying to shoot you. But fortunately, you can actually just stand in this one spot and hold B, and they can't hit you. So I'm looking at the stream now, and it looks like Rott's got a decent lead on me here. He might be 10-15 seconds ahead, which is fine, and it kind of makes sense. He's really, really good at this game. He actually got the world record in this recently. I had it for a while. I think my time was like 14:43, but he just crushed it. He got a 14:36, so he's definitely the favorite, but I gotta get the win so I can represent for the US version of the card. Alright, so the red guy is really the only one that matters here. All the other enemies you don't have to do anything to. The red guy, you have to kill him to move on, so pretty much just wait there. It's like a 45-second fight, and then the red guy pops out, and you kill him. Again, with his boss fights, you can really get right up in their face and take them down, so it works out pretty well. But yeah, it's interesting, because I talked about earlier how we chose a certain category in this game. Well, in this category, Rott has the record, but I actually have the record in hard mode. That's the lesser played category, I guess. But it's still, we both worked on that, we played it a good amount, and it's a fun one as well. So that's kind of interesting how that works. So we kind of split those records, and then we actually both have the co-op record, which we got while doing the co-op at AGDQ, which was a really fun run. I mean, I basically played this game many years ago, and not that was bad. Not that many other people played it for a while. That's not what I wanted. I was trying to get out of the tank before it blew up, but I kind of was a little too close to the tank. So unfortunately, losing the tank there is pretty bad. It wastes some time. You would have to lose the tank anyway at a certain point. So, like, through that point there's a ton of mines and stuff, so you would have to lose the tank there anyway. But losing it early does waste a decent amount of time, so a bit unfortunate there. That's okay, I can make up time in the minecart level. Alright, so this boss, pretty amazing. You're going to see here what they do after you defeat them. I'll just let this speak for itself. Yeah, so it looks like Rott's got a pretty good lead here, but you'll see my speed in this next level coming up here. Actually, this is the minecart auto-scroller for like a minute, so you're actually not going to see too much. What you do want to see, though, on Rott's screen probably right now is the fact that there's little goats on the track, and that's something that's unique in the Japanese version, but not in this version, the US version. So that definitely is one, factor that weighs into making Guerrilla better than Guerrilla War, but you can't argue with the goats. But yeah, so I started playing this game a while back. I used to play it as a kid, definitely one of my favorites. It's such a really fun game to just play co-op. It also has unlimited continues, which is really nice. I didn't mention that before, but you'll see us die a decent amount throughout the run, and I'm sure we'll both at least take one game over. But it's not really that punishing at all for the speedrun. You can actually respawn the same exact spot you die, or game over. It only costs you like 3 seconds if you die, and I think a game over is like 6 seconds. So, not too punishing, but obviously if you're trying to get a really, really good time, it'd be better not to die. There are a few spots where you want to die on purpose, like right there. Dying at the beginning of that fight lets you kill this boss a little bit faster, because when you respawn, you're invulnerable. But overall, it's good to save lives, because it's very difficult to 1cc this game. I've only done it a few times. Alright, so now we have the levels start to get a bit tougher coming up here. But we kind of go to the city now, more enemies, more stuff going on. So we'll try to advance through here, see if we can make it through. This level's not all that hard, so I'd like to just get through without dying, but I was having a lot of problems with this when I was practicing earlier, so we'll see how that goes. So I'd like for no tank to spawn right here. Of course he did spawn, but what can you do? I think there used to be a way that I could get through that without him spawning, but I've forgotten at this point, so played a little bit safer there. Get a backup weapon and keep moving. These guys just kind of mash down, take them out with tons of shots, and kind of fly through the city. This one's a lot easier than level 8 coming up. This is level 6, but really just the last 3 or 4 levels, very tough. Oh, how did I die there? Interesting. Alright. So, now we got these guys again, round 2 with the twins, and Bobo twins, or whatever you want to call them. Guess what? They just throw us into a big black hole. So, that's a bit unfortunate as well. I think RottDawg still got a pretty good lead going here, so I'm going to need to do some magic here in the last 3 levels to catch up, which I'm sure I will. So this is the sewer level. It's kind of similar to the... How did I die there? So that's our first game over, which a little bit too early, but you know, what can you do? There's going to be game overs. I'm going to game over again at some point. Hopefully I only have 1 more game over, but probably going to have 2. Because the final boss is really tough. It can kill you many, many times in a row. But anyway, we move through the sewers, and like I was saying, it's similar to level 3, where you have the water mechanic, which is quite frustrating. The boss of this level is also really annoying sometimes, because it's similar to level 3, where you have just a ton of enemies that just keep popping out. But in this case, it's not just based on a timer, you actually have to kill them all. So you want to kill all the enemies as quickly as possible, and not die. That's another good thing to do. But yeah, we'll see what we can do for the boss fight here. I used to have some kind of strat on it, but I don't really recall exactly what it was, so probably better just play a little bit safe and just avoid taking a couple deaths here. But we'll see how it goes. I think going to the right is an easy way to get up there clean. Yeah, so you'll see here there's just like a ton of enemies that are going to come out from all different angles, and it can be very difficult if they get away from you early on. So you really want to get control of the screen. So I got this C weapon, which kind of clears everything out. It's a huge bomb grenade thing that you can shoot out. So I did that to clear things out. It's not very hard once you get into the middle of the screen and you have kind of control of the enemies, which I kind of lost there. But if you kind of have them spawning from all over the place, you're definitely going to take some deaths. And again, you just want to kill a certain amount of enemies, and then we blow up the entire sewer, so that's always nice. Alright, so now we move on to level 8, which is another city level, and this one's a lot tougher than the first one, but it's also really fun. The boss fight in this is definitely enjoyable because you can kill him super fast. Didn't think I was going to take a hit there. Yeah, you can kill him super fast if you do it good, and it's kind of a challenge to do it as quickly as possible, but we'll see if Rott can get a really good fight. He's actually really, really good at that boss fight, and I'm pretty decent, but he's got a gift for massacring that boss. Alright, so I did get a good spawn set here. I try to keep these 2 guys in front of me on screen, because they'll actually despawn a couple of helicopters that would show up right here. So the helicopter that would be in the left corner right now kills you a lot of the time. There's really nothing you can do about it. It's kind of random what he'll do. But if you can get those guys to stay on screen, then you get to despawn that helicopter and lets you get through there more cleanly. Alright, so we're coming up on... I don't wanted that power up. It's okay. So here's the boss. Let's see what we can do as far as the kill. You really, again, just want to get as close as possible to this guy. The grenades are the key, so you want to kind of mash grenades just into it constantly. Yeah, you want to kill him at the top there. I killed him a little bit late at the top, but that was still a pretty good kill. But yeah, overall, not too bad. I think Rott's still keeping a solid lead. He's having a really good run here, so we'll see if I can catch him in this level. This level is actually pretty brutal. It's one where you're pretty much guaranteed to take deaths, because there's just certain parts where it'd be way too slow to just try to get through them. You'd have to pretty much just wait. There's so many enemies, so much lag. But the beginning part you can get through clean, which is still very tough, but I'm going to try to do that because that's always a good feeling. So like killing that tank back there actually despawned another enemy that would have showed up here. So lots of little things like that that can help you get through the levels cleanly. Even if it just looks like just running forward and shooting with no rhyme or reason. There's a little bit of reason, but I mean, for the most part, I pretty much am just doing that. Just running forward with my eyes closed and hoping things go well. But luckily that works in this game. You don't really have to do that much more than do that because, like I said, you got infinite continues. You can, you know, die as much as you want. It's all good. So definitely a reason why everybody should start running this game so you can die as much as you want. Alright, so this is the strat here. That's actually a really good boss fight I had there. You want to get as close to his hitbox as possible, but you kind of walk alongside him on the bottom, and you shoot their grenades so they constantly hit him. And it's actually quicker to do that. Like, if you have a good sub-weapon on that fight, it becomes much slower. For some reason, when you fight some of these bosses with no weapon, it's a lot faster. I don't know if it makes the grenades more powerful, but it's quite interesting. Ooh, that was dumb. So I kind of walked the wrong path there. Again, this level you just want to walk a certain line and then not die a lot. So unfortunately we messed up the line a bit, and actually I have some weird enemy spawns here that I wasn't expecting. Because normally you only have to weave through one set of those tanks, but by taking that early death I kind of messed it up. But that's okay, we're getting near the end here. It looks like Rott probably already beat the game at this point, so GG Rott. But we're coming up on the final boss here. And hopefully we can take him down good, because he is the evil dictator, and we need to end his reign of terror. I didn't really mention it, but actually I think I did mention it. The characters in this game are Che Guevara and Fidel Castro, and you know, I said we played this as a co-op at AGDQ, and I just got shot. And I played as Fidel Castro, and Rott played as Che, so that's clearly the reason he has an advantage in this race, because we're both playing as the blue guy, which is Che. So I just wanted to say that. But one interesting thing. Alright, so now we got the victory and time. 15:44, that's not really that bad. I think Rott got a really good time. Damn. 14:52? That's sick. GG Rott. Definitely proves that the Japanese version is better than the US version. I've been living a lie. But yeah, it's a really fun game to run. So we did the co-op run, and I actually have a perler of Fidel Castro, which I might be the only person in the world that's ever actually said that, but it makes sense to some degree because it's the character in this game, the yellow guy. But overall, definitely a good game. You're going to see the ending here, and this is the main reason that the US version is better than the Japanese version, because if you watch these credits, you're going to see one very special person that made all of this possible, and you'll also see some cool graphics, like that woman just turned into a pig. I mean, what else do you need besides that? And then they jump around a little bit, so I like this game a lot. The art style is really cool, the music's really cool, it's very fun.